Hello, hello.
Hello, we're back with another one.
Let me rap something for you real quick.
She has been singing all morning. Like, I'll say something and then bust out in song.
There's just a Rolodex of music happening, and I can't seem to contain it today.
Yes. So you might get a concert and a podcast all in the same episode. You're welcome.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry.
So today I wanted to start off with a question.
Okay.
It stems from this question, though. So just bear with me. So everybody has always been asked, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? You've been asked that question a million times when you were younger and even into adulthood. But my question for you is, who do you want to be when you grow up?
I love that, because what's more important, what you do or who you are?
Yeah, who you are.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah. Like, what you do is cool, and that does represent part of your personality, and it does influence part of your personality. But I think the more important thing is who you are as a human in whatever role or job you have.
So what would that look like for you?
So which question do you want to ask?
Who?
Which one? Who?
Yeah.
Okay, so the person I want to be when I am finished growing at whatever age that is, I want to be a person that is confident, that loves myself, that can enter any room and feel like I belong there, that does good in the world, that helps others, that is honest and joyful, person that has fun wherever I go.
I think you already hit some of those marks, friend.
Yeah, some of them, but I'm not where I want to be just yet. But I am on my way.
Yes, I feel you there. Yeah, so
who do you want to be?
That's what I was just going to say. So I have a lot of the same attributes. Like, I would like to be confident, and I would like to be comfortable in whatever way that looks like, whether it's, compensation or mental health or anything like that. I want to be comfortable. I want to feel good in the body that I have, and good in the body that I have and the skin that I have, and I want to portray positive light to everybody around me.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know what else I want? I want to be a person that keeps growing, and a person that can change my mind at any point in time about my goals or who it is I want to be or where I want to go. Because I feel like often we get stuck in this box, not just in our careers, but in our personalities. Like, this is the kind of person I am. That doesn't have to be the kind of person you are
for the rest of your life.
No. You can decide tomorrow, you know what? I want to be more honest. You know what? I want to be, my thing lately, I want to be funnier. Because
I've said that.
I feel like I'm a pretty funny person.
You're a pretty funny person.
But it's in my moments, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like if I'm in that vibe of like a funny place, I can be pretty fucking funny. And it makes me laugh. It makes others laugh. It's like this joyful like thing. And I want to actively be more funny and have more joy. And I that was not something that I was, like trying to give attention to before. And I'm trying to give attention to it like recently.
I love that, because we as people, as adults, as parents, we all have goals that we want to work towards, and goals are great. But a lot of those goals are focused to monetary things, to career, to gaining tangible items.
Which there's nothing wrong with any of those.
No, those goals can be healthy, but that separates the who and the what. What do you want to be versus who do you want to be? And I think that we should also have goals for who we want to be too in life. And that's very important to me. Sometimes more so than monetary, career, or otherwise, because me as a person, I'm always going to be here. The house, the job, the car may not be there someday. So I want to focus more on myself.
Yeah, I love that. And when you do that too, like things like losing your house or your career, they don't throw you for as big of a loop. because you're stable with who you are and with like, you know what, I'm the type of human that no matter what happens, I'm going to be able to take care of myself, or whatever that, insert whatever that is, that who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can have that confidence in yourself and knowing who you are and who you want to be, all the other stuff is semantics, and it'll work its way.
Mm-hmm.
It'll figure itself out.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about, you said you had met this woman.
Trish the Dish! Shout out, Trish! I fucking love you.
So tell me, you had mentioned her earlier, and you said you were going to tell the story.
Yes.
So
Okay, so I co-hosted a women's retreat, my first time, by the way, and it was so fun.
I'm sure it was phenomenal.
Yeah. So there was this 70-year-old woman that came. And first of all, when you're 70, if you're 70 and you're coming to a growth retreat, like, first of all, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just because you're 70 does not mean it's game over. Like, I'm old, I can't change anymore, it's too late. People are living to be 100 nowadays. Like, you literally could have 30 more years. That's 30 long years full of time. Look at all the changes we've made in 30 years.
Yeah, it's been...
And you know more at 70 than you did at 30.
Right.
Like,
that's awesome.
There is still explosive growth that can happen.
Yeah.
So, Trish the Dish came to this retreat, and she had been in a funk, and I won't share her personal life, but she had been in a funk, and she left the retreat like amped up, like, I can change some things.
Mm-hmm.
I can do some things, and I can improve my life.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you're 70 doesn't mean that it's over and that you can just quit.
Right.
I mean, you can quit, but why? Why would you want to? 70 doesn't mean dead.
Right.
I just love that. I was so inspired by that.
Yeah, that mind frame is so powerful, because I think even some people our age, like, we're in our late 30s, some people our age feel like that this is it. I've peaked, you know?
Yeah.
I've peaked in my performance. And it's like, you probably have a whole nother lifetime to be living. Like,
yeah, don't quit now.
Do something with that.
You never stop growing. Like, and also, like, life is so much better when you're working towards something, when you have something you're looking forward to.
Yes.
And whether that be professional career goals, personal goals, like, have some goals, because life is just better when you have goals.
Like, I have career goals too, so I don't want to knock the people who have career goals. I think they're important. You know, I've excelled in my career, and I'm very fortunate for that, to have worked through that. So I have those, but I just cannot stress enough how important it is to just have growth goals for yourself.
Yeah, and they don't have to be big goals. You don't have to be like, you know what, I want to lose 150 pounds and compete in a bodybuilding. I don't know why I'm talking in that voice. But
because you're a bodybuilder.
Because I'm a bodybuilder. Like, they don't have to be these massive goals.
Yeah.
Like, they could just be little goals. Like, you know what I want to do? I want to wake up 10 minutes earlier in the morning.
Yep.
Or I want to tell myself I love myself when I put lotion on. You know, like, little goals. They can be little goals.
I want to drink more water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
I do too.
And I think it's important too, like, when you're setting all these goals, to look at how far you've come. So, like, you said something about that earlier. Like, tell that story that you told me.
So I'm trying to think of it, jog my memory.
So you realized when you were in the living room.
Yes. Okay. So the last week I was doing my Saturday, Sunday routine where I'm cleaning up my house and I'm listening to music and things like that. And I'm just getting the shit done. It's like my get shit done day is what I call it. And I just realized as I'm sitting there vacuuming, I think I was doing, that I feel pretty damn good. Like, this is like where I want to be. Like,
myself.
I was feeling it, and I was like, wow, I was grateful, first of all, to be where I am today, and just, you know, have a house to clean and have a good vacuum to use, and like just all that silly but important gratitude stuff. And I also, there was another thing, I posted my last college paper. When was 2017? Whenever 2017 was, 6-7 years ago, I can't
Math.
I don't math.
Math is hard.
I'm a social worker. I don't math. But I posted that and I was like, wow, look how far I've come in my career. Like, this is badass. Like, you're a badass,
Yeah.
And it's always good to look how far you have come, even if it's little strides. Like, oh, I drank water every day for 30 days. That's fucking awesome.
And sometimes you look around and you're like, I am living the life that I was dreaming of.
That's what I was thinking in my living room too. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Like, you get wrapped up on like, oh, I still have all this stuff that I want to do. I was thinking about something about that the other day, actually. I used to have, like, I had kind of like a vision board. And I was thinking about, like, my minivan was on my vision board. Quitting my job at the hospital was on my vision board. Writing a book was on my vision board. And when I look at where I am today, I have done those things.
Yeah.
I am driving a fucking minivan. My mom Lamborghini. Don't hate. I love it. It's the best road trip vehicle ever.
If I had more kids, because I only have one.
Yeah, that's easy for you. I have freaking Brady Bunch.
Yeah. It's true. But I would get a minivan.
Yeah.
I don't knock those.
But like, when I look back, and I'm thankful too, like you said, like I get so carried away with all the goals that I'm setting and all the things that I'm trying to do that I forget that I have already achieved some of these things. Like, where I am now is where I was fucking dreaming of being 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I just desperately wanted to be an author. I desperately wanted to quit my job. I desperately wanted my minivan. And here I am, and I have those things. And that is so fucking cool.
How did you get there?
Oh, how did I get there? Well, I mean, a lot of ways. Like,
yes.
It's been a culmination of little things.
Yes.
Which is also important. Like, you have to take stock of the habits you have that are serving you on the path to where it is you're trying to go and who you're trying to be, and the habits that aren't. So that goes back to like our morning routine episode. If you haven't listened to that one, check that one out, because it's not I heard a quote the other day. Somebody said, everybody starts the race wanting to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the goals that you set that make you better. It's the little habits that you do every day. It's the training every single day.
The consistency.
That makes you the person that wins the race.
Right.
Like, everybody wants it.
Yeah.
But it's those little habits that you set up for yourself that get you to there.
Yeah.
So I set up little habits. Like, I was writing more, and I was saving money for my van, and I was working up the nerve slowly over time to quit my job. And then factors, like, when you have all these things that you're trying to do and you're moving towards these goals, and you're trying to be in the subconscious space of like, this is the human that I am and this is the human I'm becoming.
It's so intentional. That's what you're describing.
And then the universe will line up things in the back end to help you, support you.
I wholeheartedly believe that.
Yeah. Like my partner came into my life at just the right time, and he was like, these are your dreams? Quit your job. Like, I'll help pay the bills. Quit your job. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, God?
Thank you.
Did you do this? You did.
You did do that.
Yeah. Like,
yes.
And I know this sounds like, oh, that could never happen to me. Like, I'm not just going to randomly meet a man who's going to pay my rent. But honestly, that's what I thought. I didn't think I was the type of human that could allow a man to pay my bills, even if one offered to.
Right.
But the culmination of events, when I was ready, it was ready for me.
Yeah.
And that is just so fucking beautiful.
Well, you are in line, girl. Like, sometimes you get those moments too. Like,
synchronicities. There's no such thing as coincidence.
You get these moments where you're like, I am where I am supposed to be in this exact moment. Like, you can feel that with every being of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's part of who you want to be. If you're having those moments in your life, you are where you need to be right now.
And honestly, everybody, take a look around. You literally are where you're supposed to be right now. You may not be as far as you want to be, but you're where you're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you'd be there. Like, think about that. Like, if I weren't where I was supposed to be, where else would I be?
Right.
You're literally where you're supposed to be, because you couldn't possibly be anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you're in that phase where you're working towards it, that's where you're supposed to be. If you've already achieved some goals, that's where you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't even started on the goals yet, that's where you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Don't shame yourself for not being far enough on the journey as you quote unquote think you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
You are where you're supposed to be. Now just keep building.
And I feel like once I realized that it wasn't this forced thing that happens, it's just naturally progressing. Once I finally came to the realization that I'm not fighting against myself or with the universe, I'm moving with the universe. And once I realized that, things started to fall in place much easier. I shit you not. Things started
easier.
falling.
Yeah.
Yes. I shit you not. Once I kind of came to that conclusion and I had that mindset going, then it was just like I wouldn't say smooth sailing because I've had some ups and downs, but it just, things come naturally when you allow them to.
Yes. And life wants to help you. You just have to meet it halfway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
I do too. I love our conversations.
Let's just sigh for a second. Like,
Can
that
we
just feels nice.
can we resonate with that thought for a minute?
Yeah, take that in. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think what you choose to do for a living, like, let's circle around to the professional part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what you choose to do does affect who you are. Like, if you're a social worker, that's going to affect the type of human you are. If you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, if you're an engineer, like, what you choose to do does play a role in who you are. And then if you're doing something you don't want to be doing for a career anymore,
that also plays a role.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that affects who you are. Like,
yeah.
I was miserable when I was working at the hospital full time because it's not where I wanted to be.
Right.
Whereas, like, you're really loving your job.
Yeah.
You're really, really vibing with your job.
Yeah.
And that helps support you in the human that you're trying to be.
Yes. Yes. I'm very in line right now with my career and my personal goals. They're kind of like intertwining.
Yeah.
Like you are.
Like my coaching and my speaking and my, the podcasting and like that stuff right now is really in alignment with who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it is important to combine your personal and your professional, like
if you
those
can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and they do intertwine either way, but I feel like the professional aspect of it is important also. It plays a role in your happiness and it plays a role in, obviously your finances, but
so part of my professional career at one point was working with youth to help them create educational and career goals. So one of the things that I used to start with when we'd start the conversation is, what do you like to do? Let's hone in on that. What do you as a person like to do?
Yeah, what brings you joy?
And so I've had so I'll speak to mine.
Leanna, what do you like to do?
What do I like to do? I absolutely love helping people and watching them be successful or watching them grow. So obviously social worker takes that. But I would ask them, but I also like to do, we've talked about this in a previous podcast, I also like the supervision aspect of my job too. Like, that to me is helping people as well, because I'm helping them grow in their careers.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're helping like on a personal level, and then you're also helping like on a career level.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So I got the best of both worlds. So at one point in my job, and I can say this because I'm super open with my boss, at one point in my job, I wanted to quit because it was very stressful and I wasn't sure I was fit for this position. What I honed in on is I honed in on the challenge, which is the mind shift. Honed in on the challenge that it was giving me and really took out pieces of my job to align with my likes. So I was really stressed out being a supervisor, like doing child welfare and social work and supervising people and training them. Like that's a lot, that's a lot. And so at one point I was very stressed, but then I honed in on, okay, I need this job, obviously.
Gotta pay my bills.
Gotta pay the bills, you know, so I need this job, so I can't just blunt force curve to the left and quit and do all that, you know. So I was like, okay, how am I going to make this work? So I really honed in on the things that I loved. And here I am 6 months later saying that I'm very passionate and I love the work that I do. So
yeah. Sometimes it is just a mind shift, like stop focusing on the negative aspects and focus on the positive aspects.
Yeah, we kind of touched on that last
week. So you said when you would talk to these youths about their goals, you'd start with, what do you like to do? Where would you go from there?
Yeah. So let's say one of them chose video games. Or actually I'll use an example. One of them chose music. Okay. He's like, I really love to listen to music. I'm like, okay. Do you want to have you ever made music? And he's like, yeah, you know, I post a couple YouTube videos. And I'm like, cool. So I set up a day where him and I went down to a music school in Mesa.
Oh, to have that one-on-one, like, parents, if you're listening, do this for your kids. Like, they say they're interested in something, set up something where they could go and check out what that looks like on a career level.
Yeah. So I do that with my daughter as well. Like, I really hone into her interests. Like, she's really into baking, so we got her all the baking supplies, and you know, I just let her bake every day if she wanted to. Or she's really into track right now, so we're really pushing for that.
I did that with my son. Well, I didn't. His dad did. I won't take false credit for that. Like, he was into welding, and so his dad found him all this like used welding stuff, and he's been tinkering. And then my stepdad bought him like some stuff for his birthday, and he welds, so he was showing him how to like do some stuff. Yes. So, and then my partner welds, so like. Yeah. Like, I think it's important to, like, just support those goals, see what happens. That doesn't mean that has to be what they do, but, like, as long as they're into that, support that.
And you can get some sort of compensation for it, and fuck yeah. So I took him to this music school and showed, like, it was a program for DJs and how to like master music. And so we took him through and showed him all the things, and he was just like so in awe, and I like saw that spark come back, you know, and he was like totally motivated.
That's those goals.
Yes.
Like, having that goal, having something to work towards or look towards lights you up. It fires you up. It feels good. Like, we're not supposed to just be stagnant. We're supposed to keep growing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was cool to watch him progress, even though I don't know at the time that I was working with him if he entered into college or not, but he was definitely making more music and being diligent about it. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. I love that. And everybody should give themselves permission to, like, just, if you like something and you want to see, like, what would this look like go see what would it look like.
Like this fucking podcast. Like, I was terrified to start the podcast.
I was excited.
But I knew that I needed to, and I was equally excited, obviously. But, like, this is completely out of my wheelhouse. You know, camera is not my best friend, and then my voice, you know, all the things. So I could have perseverated on that and said, no, I'm not doing it.
But instead you were like, hey, Holly, do you want to do a podcast?
Yeah. And
I was ready to do a podcast.
Ball rolling.
But I hadn't pulled the trigger yet. And this is an example of I was ready to do it in the universe. You was ready to meet me. Like, you were like, let's do this.
Yeah. And then everything came to fruition. And it's actually been such a helpful tool in finding who I want to be.
Yeah. Like, these are tools that have to do with supporting who it is you want to be. Like, first, obviously, figure out who it is and what it is you want to be or do. Like, you have to get clear on those first, or at least try to. And that can be ever changing, ever evolving. It doesn't have to be set in stone. And then you look at your habits right now. Is this helping me to go there, or is this taking me further away from there? And you look at all these habits that you do. And then after that, like, you can reevaluate and decide, you know what, I need to implement some new habits to take me closer. And I need to give myself permission to let go of things that are not taking me closer to those goals. And that's like you have to give yourself permission to change your mind. Like, your kids and yourself. Like, if my kid decides tomorrow, you know what, welding is not my thing, I don't want to do that anymore, Okay. You tried it? You want to move on to something else? Move on to something else.
Yeah. We've, like with my daughter, she's gone dance classes, tapping, soccer, volleyball, track, skiing, snowboarding, all that.
Some things stay and some things don't.
Right, and that's okay. And I allow her to make those changes in her life because she's in the epicenter of learning about herself as a teenager. And
I love that you do that as a mom like that. And so cool.
And so I just want to allow her to experience all the things while she's in this realm of having the opportunities to do them and with the willingness and the drive to do them.
And it sets up good habits for the future too.
Yeah.
It took me, I'm not even kidding you, I probably wanted to quit my job at the hospital for at least 5 years, but I feel like it was probably longer than that.
Dang.
And it's not that I didn't love the people or the career itself. Like, I still go and I fill in, and I have much more joy in my heart when I do that now than I did when I was there full time. But it took me a long time to give myself permission to get out of there. Like, a long time. I thought, like, this is who I have to be. I can't quit.
Your job was your identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is what happens to people. They forget they have an identity outside of their job. Like, I am a doctor. I am a nurse. No, who are you without those things? Like, you are not just a doctor. You are not just a nurse. You are not just an engineer. You are a whole human being.
Whole ass person.
Yeah, way more than just your job title.
Right.
Like, take a minute and ask yourself that. Like, who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Who am I and who do I want to be?
And that can be a scary question if you have your whole identity tied up in your job. Yeah. Like, shit, who am I? Like, I think the same thing applies with parenting too. Like, if I'm not a mom, who am I?
Exactly. So we both have children who are going to leave the nest soon. Have you been thinking about that?
Well, I also have a 3-year-old, so
that's true.
I mean, this seems like the never-ending parenting story for me.
That's true. But the older children leaving, that takes away, 50% of all of your kids.
But you know what? I did have an experience. So, like, when my older kids, when their dad and I split up, and I suddenly had no kids half the time, I had no idea what to do with myself.
Yeah, because you identified as a mother.
Yeah,
right?
Like, now what do I do in my free time? I have no idea what to do. And I had to really, like, fill that hole in my life. And parents, when their kids move, will have to do that too.
I'm terrified. So
well, but I think you'll be fine because you have a nice balance, which everybody should have. Like, your kids and your job, none of those things should be your entire identity.
Yeah, they're not.
Because when that changes, it'll be devastating. Like, if your kid is your sole purpose in life, the only reason you have for living, what happens when your kid moves? You're gonna be like grabbing them. Yeah. Holding them back in a way sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
Or they're going to be like, get off of me and not want to hang out with you.
Right. Thank you for giving me some credit, because I don't think I gave myself enough credit in that aspect.
No,
but
like you have friends, you have hobbies that you do, and you allow her to have her own space too.
That's true.
And that's important. It's a good balance.
So this is where you want to be.
Yeah, just everybody be like Leanna.
Oh, that's funny. So we've kind of already talked about, like, habits and stuff, but do you have any, kind of to wrap it up, do you have any helpful tricks and tips? I almost said that wrong. Ticks and
twips. I think, like, if I'm summarizing this, my key advice I want to give people, first of all, permission. You have permission to change your mind as many effing times as you want to, okay? You can have as many reroutes on this path as you want. This is not a straight line. You can jet off to the right, jet off to the left as many times as you want. You can change your mind. So can your kids. Everybody can change their mind. And even if you have reached that goal, first take a look and see, like, wow, this is the life that I was fucking dreaming of 10 years ago. And I'm here now. Like, so feel good about that, first of all. But then, like, never stop. Like, and it's not a never stop, like, oh, I'm still not good enough, I have to have other goals. Like, never stop, like, I can still make my life even more beautiful.
Right.
I can still have more fun. I can still grow even more as a human. Let's see where this fucking road goes.
I know. Let's keep it. Sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit. Oh my gosh. Well, just want to touch base in the audience, and if you guys have any burning desires about who you want to be when you grow up, or if you're just realizing like, holy shit, my identity is my job, what do I do now? Well, you know, if you're just realizing this for the first time and you want to explore more, please get in touch with us, private message, email, anything like that. And you know, she is a health coach and a life coach, so she can help you get there.
Yeah.
And keep listening and subscribing and sharing all of their beautiful information.
Yeah, we always reply, so if you
Yes.
comment or send us an email, we always do our best to get back to everybody.
So think about it. Who do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah, who do you want to be when you grow up? We love you.
Thank you, friends.
Bye.
Bye.